This show is sponsored by Carpet Direct of Des Moines, Iowa. Welcome to Half Full and a Cup of Joe with Joe Fulford. The show that's always overflowing with optimism and caffeine. Joe's got his game face on and his coffee cup full, ready to dive into the world of football. From the Florida Gators to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beyond to college and NFL football, Joe's got the analysis, the insights, and the passion to get you pumped up and ready for the game. So sit back, relax, and fill up your cup with Joe. And now from West Des Moines, Iowa, here is Joe Fulford.
I gotta tell you, after this weekend, it has been just crazy. That's all you can say. Because I tell you what, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we had 4 terrific days of not just NFL football, but college football as well. I mean, it was just exciting. And over the course of the next hour, we have a lot to get to and discuss what's happened in the past and what will happen in the future as we get ready for what's going to be a crazy the next few days here, especially when these playoff teams get announced. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Animal Football Insider, brought to you by the fine people at Carpet Direct right there. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Hang on. Right there. Carpet Direct. Right there. Okay. Need carpeting needs? Well, all you have to do is get hold of my good friend Benton Taylor, and he'll get you set up with some fine carpeting needs in Des Moines, Iowa area. Great time to do it. It's snowing outside. It's cold, and you need to get that new carpet or new floor. Benton Taylor's want to do it, man. So give him a call. Carpet Direct, your carpeting leader in Des Moines, Iowa. I got to tell them, as I said, great weekend we had. Started with Thursday, working the way up till Sunday. The NFL was very interesting. We saw a coach get fired in the NFL. We saw where some riots broke out because people were pissed off because they were acting like crybabies. And we'll talk about all that. Loren Meadows is going to join me here in just a minute. And we'll have a good conversation and talk about all of that. By the way, I have a chat room available. You're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Post it in there. One thing that I asked, because of StreamYard and the issues that we have, sometimes your name will not come up. So please just say your name. I'm more than likely to know who you are, but just so I say in the chat, and we'll get your question on with Loren Meadows. And also later on, Lucas Mann's going to join me as well to give us an update because we have a busy day coming up on tomorrow. So everything just chomping at the bit, no pun intended. And we got started Saturday night when the Florida Gators took on the arch rivals, the Florida State Seminoles. It was slow going in the beginning, but the Gators finally picked it up, and they played the kind of football the DJ Lagway Company were capable of playing. 31-11 was the final score in Doak Campbell Stadium, pushing the Gators to their 3rd consecutive win, and now the Florida Gators will be going bowl-bound. We're going to know that a little bit later on in the week. Guys, is always chomping at the bit. Guy that's been on this show for a number of weeks, and he's kind of going to be mad at me tonight because I forgot to send him his turkey by UPS. So I don't know. I don't think he ever got it, but we always check and see. But Loren Meadows joins us on this edition of Half Full and Cup of Joe. I don't think you got the turkey, did you?
I did not get the turkey. I was looking for it. Matter of fact, I was sitting at home till about Thursday morning around 10 o'clock, and I didn't get it. So I was
You
I was a
were
little
you were
disappointed,
you were a little you were
so
scouting trying to
I
find a
went down
turkey.
to a friend's house in Orlando and still was able to get some turkey. So it
There you
turned out
go.
great.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. How you doing, Lon? Did you
Oh,
have a good
doing well.
Thanksgiving? Have a good
Yeah, it was
Thanksgiving?
good. It's good. Pretty busy. And I think that's why I caught a cold. I was kind of ripping and running. So if I sound a little sniffy or
No, you're
a little
fine.
nasally,
You were my friend. You are more than fine.
yeah.
Lauren's gonna be with us here for just a little bit because he's got a show to do later on tonight. I'm still asking him to get invited along with David Whitley. So
You will be
you know.
on soon.
Yeah.
We'll get you on for sure.
I got to get on with David Whitley. David's
Well,
my boy.
David's shutting it down, man. You need to send him a note of
What?
a good thing. Yeah, he's retiring.
Oh,
So
okay.
he announced his retirement a couple weeks ago. We kind of sent him off, excuse me, from the show last week, and
Oh,
so yeah, so he will definitely be missed. Not only a friend of the program, but a friend of mine, and
yeah.
we still run into each other at the gym and things like that. But he's going to take some time off and get to the next chapter. You know,
There you go. And I've
so
known David. I've known David ever since his days back at the Tampa Tribune. I used to work in high school sports, and David would be there covering high school basketball. You know, David does it all. You know,
oh yeah,
so
no, great
so
writer, good person, and wish him all the best for sure.
no doubt about it. Another person that we're wishing all the best is Billy Napier, but I don't think he needs our gestures or across the because he's doing quite well, isn't he? Isn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, he still needs it, but yeah, I mean, right now things are going. If you'd have told me when they came out of that Texas game, which was just a flat dud, that they would roll off 3 straight to finish the year, and be looking at probably the Gator Bowl or a bowl of that nature, one of the what I call second tier, top
Mhm.
tier. Now that the New Year's Six bowls are part of the playoff, I would have said no way. But it looks like that the team is in a good space. I was with Tyreek Sapp and Justice Boone and Coach Peterson last night. I mean, everybody was in good spirits. It's a different mode now, and I think you look at saw Kelby Collins is planning to go into the transfer portal,
Yes,
Justice
yes.
Boone as well, and it's just because look at a position like edge rusher. I mean, they're just loaded there. I mean, they got some really good guys there. They got some guys coming. And I think what you're seeing now is a team that weathered this schedule with as much adversity as any team. I mean, you think about it, this team is playing without arguably its best quarterback most of the season, without arguably its best running back, arguably without his best receiver. And, O-line was pretty much intact. D-line was pretty much intact, but they haven't had Pup Howard for the past couple weeks. I mean, one of their
Right.
best
He's been playing
linebackers,
great. Yeah.
their best secondary guys. I mean, and to go 7-5, it's less of an indictment of what the schedule was, but mainly just how within those walls, Billy Napier's been able to keep it together. And we talked about that. I mean, from what we see from the outside and what you see from any program from the outside really doesn't matter. It's what happens within the walls of the facility. And this is any football team, not just Florida. So with that said, this is a team that, should they go and play in the bowl game and play really well and get a win. You talk about an 8-win ball club. They've already beaten Vegas with the over-under on the wins.
Mhm.
And, with DJ Lagway coming back and as many as 16 to 17 starters coming back, this team is going to be they will be the new Ole Miss of this season. They will be the team that, obviously you got your stalwarts and your Georgias, your Alabamas, even Tennessee. If Nico can take that next step next year, you don't know what's going to happen with Ole Miss, but Florida is going to be right there with Texas A&M and some of the others excuse me, of that second tier of, teams right there, 3-4 in the SEC that, people are going to be looking at making a run. And you look at the recruiting, the way that's improved. Like I keep saying, I mean, I'm anxious to see how many people beat the door down to come play with DJ Lagway, because I think it's going to be that. And I've even heard maybe even Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State could be a possibility, depending on what Ohio State does at quarterback and things like that. I mean, imagine that kind of get in the transfer portal. And I mean, the guy's got it, man. So, you saw that play, I mean, where he just shrugged off. Can't remember the young man's name, but
but I know what you do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, it's just, you just see some of that stuff. And like I said, I mean, you get all that from Lagway, and they still haven't scratched the surface on his ability to run the football yet. So, there you go.
He's Loren Meadows, GatorBaitMedia.com. Joe Fulford, you're truly helpful. A cup of Joe here on Facebook Live and YouTube, brought to you by fine people at Carpet Direct. Let me go over some of the numbers with you for this game, because this was just amazing. Let me bring it up here. The Gators, as a team, they held FSU to just 239 total yards of offense. But here's what was interesting. They had 8 sacks on the day for a loss of 39 yards. Now, the loss in yards may not be much, guys, but it's just the sacks that said this defense, and granted, maybe it was Florida State, but still, this defense came out to play, and they had a vengeance on their mind. They were not going to lose this one.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. You got 8 sacks against Florida State, which is still more than they averaged giving up per year. So you plussed them on that. I think Florida State was maybe giving up close to 3 a game.
Wow.
But here's what's even better. Let's go back a couple games before, and I think this is a stat that people haven't touched on enough. Before the LSU game, LSU had only given up 6 sacks total for the season.
And the Gators had 6 that day, if I'm not mistaken.
7. So you talk about a pass rush that has basically quadrupled tripled the total against LSU, because LSU was giving up less than a sack a game. Then they doubled the total that Ole Miss was giving up, which was 2 a game, and then they go out and get 8 against Florida State. So you're talking about a pass rush that is finally they have just awoken as a unit. And, I asked Shamar James after the game, I said, are some of these things just people getting comfortable? Because if you look in the second half of the season, it started to be, they were a lot more complex with a lot of their blitz packages and some of the pressures that they were bringing. And you finally say everybody's made fun of the creeper, but you finally start to see the effects of the creeper. And he said, just guys getting comfortable in what they're doing. And he said, and Ron Roberts and those guys, and Coach Armstrong, building some things out that we've really had success with. And I mean, I think that's been, I think last year Florida may have had 7 sacks total. I mean, you look at the number of turnovers. I mean, I think it was 6 turnovers total last year, 3 interceptions. I mean, just a team that has just totally transformed themselves defensively. And we talked about it. The as much as people clamor for offensive coordinator this, offensive coordinator that, the problem has been for the past 2 seasons, the defense. The defense has failed to get teams off the field. And what they've been able to do really the last 4 to 5 weeks is get teams off of the field on a consistent basis. You throw the Texas game out, and you've really seen a defense really since UCF that has really been playing better week to week, or at least consistent on a week-to-week basis. And I think that's why they're I mean, you think about last year, they played, I mean, we were there. If they play halfway decent defense against Arkansas and they at least get 7 wins.
Yeah.
and probably should have got an 8th. Probably should have had
Yeah.
9 the year
No,
before
yeah,
that.
I know.
And this is a totally different conversation. So the defense is finally living up to its billing. Took a while. Everybody was frustrated. I was frustrated. Everybody was frustrated. But you finally see, the fruits of what this thing could be and what they've been preaching. And they physically got after people the last 3 weeks. I mean, ain't no doubt about it. Florida State showed up ready to pull the upset. And, Florida kind of took the body blows and kind of weathered and waited.
Yeah.
And then they just start throwing knockout punches. And so, I mean, the game was never in doubt. I was just like, man, it's going to be a sloppy game. It's going to be like 21-10 or, 14-3 or something like that. And it really wasn't. I mean, Florida State doesn't even get that last touchdown if they don't run the 2s and 3s in there, which was good. It let some guys get some run, but yeah, I mean, it was a dominant performance.
When they recovered fumble late in the third quarter, I mean, that's when things started to really get very interesting. And that's when they started rolling. I mean, the DJ Lagway. By the way, I was looking at the final stats for the regular season. The Florida Gator finished the year with 38 sacks on the season. That considering what this team had done last year, that is
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, you're talking. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, where they were able to come, from and where they were able to go as a team. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then it shows. I mean, that's the thing is things like that start to show. I mean, they're 8th in the country in sacks with 3 sacks a game. I mean, they're in the top 10 in sacks. Basically, they're tied for, like I said, they're in the hunt. They're right there with the Oregons, the Florida's in there, SMU, Ole Miss, is way out in front. But I mean, but not, but they didn't have any sacks against Florida. So I mean, or maybe 1 or 2, I can't remember. But I mean, so you look at that from where Florida was to be in the top 10 in sacks is unbelievable. I mean, so you gotta tip your hat to the way this football team is playing. Top 25 in tackles for loss, and those things, like I said, they lend themselves to good football. I mean, so you gotta have it, and they're getting it.
Help me to understand something. Number one, I noticed where a lot of these guys are entering the transfer portal, and I think to myself, okay, well then maybe these guys, or there's something wrong with Billy Napier. They just don't want to play for him. But then there's other side to it that says, well, these new guys that are coming in, I'm not going to get a lot of playing time. I need to be going someplace else. Is it more the latter that we're seeing with all these transport guys going to transfer portal, you think?
Well, I can, I spoke with someone within the program, for instance, about Justice Boone. And sometimes it's a good move for both parties. And I'm going to say in most cases, that's what usually happens is it's a good relationship. There's a great relationship there, but it's just time to go and no hard feelings, nobody, anything we can do to help you. I know that with Justice Boone, there's a real good push for him to possibly, make sure that he makes the right move. If you understand what I'm saying, make sure that he ends up exactly where he needs to be. So it's not that these young men are just being pushed into the transfer portal and being left alone. There actually is some guidance from the Florida staff to say, hey, I think this would be a good fit for you. Or I know this guy here. You might be best here. A lot of times the defense just isn't a fit. Maybe you go somewhere here where they do a little something different or what have you. But like, for instance, in the case of a Justice Boone, a lot of mutual respect, a lot of admiration, and a lot of guidance from the Florida staff and different people to make sure that he gets the best landing spot that he can get because they want to see the best for this young man. So, yeah, I mean, it just sometimes it's playing time. You see the writing on the wall, and I mean, it's hot and heavy out here. And like, for instance, you look at a guy like Andy Jean, who I think is going to be a talented receiver at this level.
He left too.
Dealt with some injuries, correct. But unfortunately, what you're going to see, and I think with a guy like Lagway, just like you saw an Elijah Badger and a Chimera DK come in to kind of play with Mertz, you're going to see the same type of receiver level. You know, those type of guys are going to want to come in, guys that probably have 50 to 60 career catches coming in to play with the DJ Lagway. And I think that that's what you're going to see. So, you know, you're going to have a lot of that. And you saw Jakeem Jackson, who was a started for the Florida Gators. He was starting. And announces that he's going to be in the trade, which kind of surprised me. But you know, guys have their own. You know, I don't know. I don't know why. You know, he and Devin Moore would have been the top two corners coming back. Two of the top corners in the SEC, but I don't know the young man, and obviously, once again, he has chosen to move on. But from what I understand, the culture that has been built at Florida is so good that really there's not a lot going on as far as guys not liking Billy Napier and for that reason wanting to move on.
There's been some things going on with roster reductions. Now the NCAA saying that you're going to have 105. I do not understand this at all. Put this in a elementary school perspective. How this is. I mean,
okay, so I probably need to read up on this too, but from what I understand, there's 85 scholarship guys.
Right.
Okay. There's 85. Now you used to be able to bring in, I think, an unlimited number of walk-ons possibly and things like that. Now you're only going to be, it used to be you could only bring 105 into camp. And then when school started, you could bring some other guys in. Now you're going to have 105 guys that can be part of your program total. That's it. Now, I don't know if that leads to an expansion in scholarships. I don't think so. But then I know in some other sports, there's going to be some expansion of scholarships and things like that. For instance, like a softball and baseball, where you don't see everybody on scholarship. Now everybody's going to be able to be on some type of scholarship, things like that. So what it does is shrink your pool. Now, what I think from a football standpoint is going to happen, and from an X and O's, is the fact that you're going to have, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to have a couple situations where now you got to be careful the way you practice, because think about a school like Florida, less bodies run around. But you could look at Florida easily playing anywhere between, if all goes well next year, 13, 14, 15 games, right? So now you gotta be mindful of your health and things like that, where you could maybe run those walk-ons out and scout team them and things like that. A little different now. You're almost getting into where the pro model, and I know you got 50 extra guys, so it's not necessarily like the pro model, but in a sense where we're practicing good against good, but we got to be mindful of how much we're doing, because we don't want to, hurt the health of our players.
Which means amending your practice times, how you go about practicing,
correct,
how much heading you want to do.
Right.
I mean, people need to, because they can only have 105 total people. They can't have extra people walking on and not be on the. They can't just have walk-ons and not be on the team. That's not going to happen now.
Right.
Just 105 people, period. Okay.
Right.
That's what I'm understanding. 11 flips over a 3-week span. We're talking about recruiting. Billy Napier's been able to flip a lot of guys coming this way. Tomorrow is early National Signing Day.
Yep.
Okay. I'm kind of mad about because I was hoping on Thursday we talk about it. But the reason why my show is tonight is
Right.
because I have an event going on, a personal event I'm doing with my wife. Um, so um, so that's why we're putting the show on tonight. Tomorrow it's going to be very interesting. Team that was ranked 51 in the country 4 weeks ago. Now it's ranked 11th. It's on the verge of a top 10, top 7 possible. God bless you. Top 10, top 7 recruiting class. If some things fall their way, what what do you see happening? What do you see happening tomorrow? Do you see any surprises in store for tomorrow?
Well, I think there's a young man that I think is committed to Florida State that now I think has been crystal ball to Florida lineman
Solomon Thomas?
Solomon Thomas. Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah.
that's the big one.
So
That's the
that could
big
be
one.
obviously, Lucas, you got the man coming on because Lucas is all over that stuff. I tend to be more with the team. Lucas is a lot more into recruiting, but
Yeah, he is. I
I
mean,
think
give
no,
it
I
to
don't
him.
think you would have necessarily surprises other than guys that maybe they think are gonna flip that aren't gonna flip. Could you have some of these guys that have said they were flipping maybe go back? Maybe, but it's gonna be quite a good haul for a team that had a coach that was basically head was halfway on the chopping
Yeah,
block, from what I understand, to now a top 10 class. So
yeah.
once again, it just speaks to what Billy Napier and his recruiting staff. Shout out to Katie Turner and Bree Wade, both
Oh man,
who do a really good job. Got to
yeah.
see Katie on the field on Saturday night, and just just what they've been able to do, the experience, the on the field, the on the field experience that they've been able to bring. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good day for the Gators. I think, like I said, if I feel better, I'm hoping to get over there for the press conference for that, to kind of break down the class. They give you a nice little printout about some guys, and then maybe write something up. I'm out Thursday as well, so I won't be able to talk about it on the show with Buddy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, should be a good day. I mean, that's what winning does, and winning
Yeah.
big and winning on national TV. So when you beat some high profile teams like an LSU, and I mean, remember, Ole Miss was thought by some people to be the best team in the SEC, if not the
Yeah, there
country
was
at that
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And Florida did some good things and took them out. So
Everybody went in lane. Everybody
yeah.
went in lane, but
So I mean,
the
but so there you go. So could be a
couple of
good
things.
day. Like I said, Lucas will be he'll be able to break it down to you on top of layers. But like I said, I think it just speaks to when you win and you win at a place like the University of Florida, you're gonna have good recruiting classes. I mean, if you go out and
No,
put the work in and present a good picture and a good presentation and build relationships, you're gonna get the guys.
I was kind of taken aback by Florida State's reaction to planting the flag on their field after the game. Mike Norvell was having one of these crybaby incidents after the game, talking to Billy Napier, but I mean they did the same thing to us the years before, so payback can be a bitch. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Well, I ain't gonna let nobody plant no flag on my field. So kudos to Florida State for not letting Florida, and kudos for Florida to try to put it there. Same thing with Ohio State and Michigan. Yeah, man, you ain't gonna put no flag here. That's it.
Yeah.
And if we got to scuffle after, then we're gonna scuffle after. But I'm one of those people that, I think Florida needs to get to the point where it's normal to beat Florida State. That would be perfect in my book, where you just kick their butt and walk off the field. But for lack of a better term, for the year that Florida State has had, why not rub it in? That's what makes these rivalries spicy. And
right.
when I was in college, when the rivalry was at its height, they would fight every game. Before the game, they fight after the game, they fight during the game, you know,
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I
So
know.
I'm all
Scrappy.
for you know, I mean, Norvell, I mean, you know, shake hands, make sure you guys don't fight. I mean, I thought he was, for him to say, you know, I think he could have easily, I think it comes off better if he says, hey man, our kids don't play that 2-9 or 9-2. Don't be playing no
Right.
flag. But to be
Yeah.
kind of whining about it when y'all was kicking up dust and kicking up turf and all those kind of things, but that's what goes with it. You know, that's what makes the rivalry spicy. And when they come to Gainesville next year, it'll have the same, you know, spice. And you know, I don't think Florida State will be 2-9 again, but they might be. And you know, then Florida will probably be somewhere it should be, knock on wood, anywhere between undefeated to you know, 9-1, 10-1, 9-2, right there in the hunt. So, you know, it'll add some drama to the whole setup, you know.
Billy was not happy about it after the game and expressed apologies. But what I found interesting, what I found interesting after the game was that the players were smoking cigars on the sideline. I don't know if you saw this, but
I
they
did.
were outside smoking cigars, and Billy just walking by and acting like nothing's wrong. Which I mean I don't know. I mean the guys had a right to do that. It was
Oh yeah, well, I
fine.
mean, I think that's something that he picked up during his time at Alabama. You know, they would do the victory cigars after big wins and things like that at
Oh,
Alabama.
okay.
And I
So
think
he's
that that's something, yeah. So you
so
go back and you can see guys
okay.
like what's it, Mac Jones and some of those
Yeah,
guys. I mean, that
yeah,
that
yeah.
was a thing. And so
Joe Burrow.
yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it's fine, whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I was standing next to two cops and they were joking. They were like, "Hey, no smoking in the stadium," and they were even laughing. Two Tallahassee cops, and
nice,
so it was
nice.
whatever. They that's fine. I mean, you know, I think that yeah. I mean, you can sit there and nitpick every little single thing, or you could say, "Hey, big win over a rival, a team that." Two teams obviously going in different directions, and you know, and the people that you know, I will say this, and this is something that I feel strongly about. Mike Norvell is a dude, and I say this because I consider myself a dude too. And what I mean by that is, let's be careful of, you know, I don't like comments like punk A, you know, and you know,
Yeah,
people
right, right,
saying
right.
his white chocolate A. Well, there's nothing wrong with being white chocolate or embracing a certain culture or things like that. I think that Mike Norvell is a dude that, you know, I mean, I'm sure he'd punch you in the face if he could without losing that multi-million-dollar job. He's not a softy. He played Division I football. He's not softy. You know, I think people need to be mindful. I always wonder, and maybe this is why you know, it's certain things you just got to be mindful. And we beat them Florida State as a fan, and Florida beat them, and you know, let it go. You know,
Yeah,
it's time to move on. Let's see who we play in the bowl game. Leave Mike Norvell and FSU, but you know, just be mindful of your comments, you know, and that's for everybody, players, things like that, because you know, you be walking through the outlet malls and guys got his Florida State jacket on. You ain't gonna say nothing to a 260-pound
no,
defensive
you're not.
tackle. You
No,
ain't
no,
gonna
no,
say
no.
nothing. You own no parts of that. So I think people need to be, you know, that's just my cautionary tale.
Two more things, and I'm going to let you go. Number one, were you surprised? Were you surprised by the announcement of Gus Malzahn leaving UCF to become the new offensive coordinator at Florida State?
I was. And the only reason is UCF been talking a lot of trash. And what I mean by that is they've been under Gus, they've been kind of making a push for, hey, there's a fourth alternative here in the state of Florida. You got your Florida States, you got your Florida, you got your Miamis. But now we play big boy football too. We're in the Big 12 and they got the billboards and they got all these things. And they necessarily have not delivered on that, but they were woofing about it. And I thought that Gus Malzahn would kind of see that through see if they could really make that push, because I think it's what, their second or third year in the Big 12. It's not been
Yeah,
long.
something. No, it hasn't been long at
Really,
all.
really hang in there and see what happens. So yes, I was a little shocked to see that he is resigning to take the Florida State.
Well, I was surprised by that. It was Malzahn that makes the announcement and not somebody like Mike Norvell from Florida State, which tells me that Norvell is going to be back for another season. So, I mean, that's what kind of shocked me. Where are we going for bowl?
I think the Gator Bowl.
I do too.
And just because, obviously, the Gator Bowl, Florida Gators, Gator Bowl, versus probably an ACC opponent is what I think that the Gator Bowl would like to see. Florida did their part by winning the 7th game. So I think it can justify that. January 2nd, prime time would be a great opportunity for the city of Jacksonville, things like that. And but then you got the Gasparilla. I don't see like the Birmingham or the Liberty anymore. I don't think so. That would almost be a slap in the face. The Gasparilla, maybe not, just because it would be like USF or somebody, which would be kind of cool. But the Liberty, no offense to the Liberty Bowl, the good people of Memphis, but like the Vegas Bowl, that wasn't a great experience for Florida. The last, it's before Christmas. And I think they're, the way that Florida's been playing, I think they're going to kind of want to put them in that pocket of, December 30th, January 1st, December 30th, 31st, January 1st, January 2nd, whatever the dates are. And I think the Gator Bowl is a perfect spot.
Would he like to have an earlier bowl or a later bowl, just to get things over, just to get the year over with? I mean, because
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if an earlier bowl. I don't know. I don't know how, as a coach. I guess my thing is, if I was the coach at Florida, I would want to go and win the Gator Bowl.
No.
And just to say, hey, we came to Jacksonville, we got it done. And you know what? Next year, right after Halloween, we're going to come to Jacksonville and get it done again. If you know what I'm saying.
Well, remember they were doing some remodeling of the stadium, so that's going to be moving for the next.
But that's not next year. It's 27, 28, right?
I thought it was next year.
Is it next year?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what. Yeah, I think it is.
Then let's put our mark on Jacksonville for the time being, and it's just so much messaging that can go with winning a game in Jacksonville that I think
One final question: if it is Jacksonville and it's January, how many practices would they be allowed to have to get ready? Is it like 15?
You get 15, but Billy Napier has made it very clear that he is not going to practice his team. He is not going to practice his team 15 times to play one game. So I would guess they will practice 5 to 6 times, maybe some walkthroughs, a lot of film study, and then go from there. They're not going to practice 15. Every team gets 15 practices.
That's what I thought.
They're not going to practice 15 times. So
I've kept you more than need be. I'm sorry. I know you got to go and get ready for your show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have on your show real quick?
So one thought. So it is in Jacksonville. 25, 26, 27 is the 2 sites.
Okay.
So one more time in Jacksonville, and then 26, 27.
Okay, cool.
And I think Atlanta and Tampa.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Which would be cool.
Yeah,
I like both cities, and you can drive to them, and that's cool too. Although there's a direct flight from Gainesville to Atlanta, that ain't bad either. So
no, I don't think it's bad either.
Take a subway right into town too, so it's not too bad.
I've kept you more than need be because I know you got ready. Who do you have on your show tonight?
I've got Rob Brown of SEC Sidelines.
Right.
It's going to be an interesting show tonight. We're just going to kind of talk a lot about the playoff, talk about what happened this weekend, and maybe engage the listeners a little bit. So we're going to try a little something different, do a little question and answer, kind of piggyback off Shane Matthews a little bit and discuss some things from the listeners a little bit. So, we'll go from there. So it should be, so tap in on this animal and if you got something to say, we'll pick it out.
One more thing, real quick. The 2025 schedule comes out tomorrow, right? Is that gonna be released tomorrow?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, I think it is. I'm not sure. I have to.
Oh wow.
Okay. I
Okay. Well,
think
that's
so.
cool.
I'm not sure.
Well,
I know.
I mean,
If not,
now,
it's next Wednesday.
now the one thing about the schedule is, hopefully, for the Florida Gators' sake, there's not Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss back to back again.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
know.
they break some of that up. I know the
Maybe-
Miami game
maybe-
is a little bit. It's September 20th. So the one good thing about it is Florida should be undefeated going into. They should be 2-0 going to Miami next year. So
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can play Missouri, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, it won't be Missouri.
Yeah.
Same schedule next year, same opponents, maybe different schedule. They won't get the opportunity to play Missouri again until 26. Unfortunately.
Bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've kept you more. Get out of here. Go get ready for your show. I'll log on later on.
Man.
Okay.
Hey man, and you just come to Gainesville for a game, man. I got you. Put you up here. I'm sitting in your bedroom.
You say
I'm literally sitting in your bedroom.
You're telling me that I have free room and board when I come to Gainesville?
Absolutely.
I'm holding to that.
Dude,
sir.
the Meadows house has boarded many a person for Florida games. Trust me. They have.
All right.
So
I'm looking forward to it. I may have to take you
man,
up
anytime. Absolutely.
Lauren, have a good show tonight. Thank you for joining me.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Loren Meadows joining me on this edition of Half Full Cup of Joe. I always love Loren. He's fantastic, and he just does a great job. So that's that. And I believe either tomorrow, I think it's a week from tomorrow that they will release the schedule for 2025. As to what teams that they're going to be playing. If Loren is right, which I'm not going to doubt him, not one bit, then it looks like that could be same schedule, but where and how they do it, that's going to be interesting, and we're going to follow that along as we get ready for it. Waiting on Lucas Mann to join me here. But while we're doing that, he knows I have my Bucs thing on tonight also. And the reason why I have that on is because, boy, the Buccaneers, they traveled to Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers. Now, look, I know it wasn't pretty. I know that there's some things that could have been done differently. But in the end, the Gators came out the Buccaneers came out on top in overtime. Overtime! And boy, did this defense play fantastic. They won the game. On Monday, Todd Bowles spoke with Dan Lucas of News Channel WFLA TV Channel 8. I'm going to bring that up right now. As we do that, we're going to listen to a few minutes of conversation that Todd Bowles had with Dan Lucas had with Todd Bowles. So here's that conversation one-on-one. Guys, take it away.
Over. Somebody needed to do something.
Oops, hang on.
And Anthony Nelson did that. Just swipes the ball out, instinct. I know somebody needed to do something. And Anthony Nelson did that. Just swipes the ball out, instinct. I know you're an Anthony Nelson fan, but how impressive was that moment?
It was huge. Very impressive because we practiced it all week. We talk about taking the ball away at all times. Critical point in the game. They were in field goal range as well. Nelly came up with a big play.
And the defense collectively, they got the yards, but for the most part, I thought you guys kept things in front of you. What was your thoughts on the performance of the defense, especially as the later stages went on?
I thought they played well with the exception of the 2-minute touchdown with the busted coverage, giving up the 2-minute touchdown. They had some sudden changes, getting the ball in the red zone. Obviously, they held them to 3, got the ball in the plus 36. They kind of missed the field goal there, so they stood up in some big moments and kept the game close for us.
Is there something to these matchups against a former coach on your staff, a former coordinator who might know tendencies of guys, something that you had to be mindful of when you were game planning to face them?
No, because we have the same tendencies on them. So you try not to overcoach it. You want to make sure your guys are able to play and play.
Hang on a minute. I had a technical difficulty here. Hang on. Let me bring that back up real quick. Um, okay, let me bring this up real quick. Sorry. All right. Let's continue with top bowls here.
Javier came in, we juggled some things around and put Izzy at safety and let Javier play the nickel some. And I thought just piecing it together, those guys, they got it done.
We keep hearing Yaya Diaby's name mentioned during games, and you've said this before. He may not have the numbers that back up what he's doing. Is he getting better and better for you?
One of his better games. I thought he played just as good as Nelson. Him and Nelson and Cansey, I thought up front, had some very good ball games. He had a bunch of tackles. He set the edge well. He knocked some people around. He got the fumble recovery. Nelson got the forced fumble. And they got back there along with Cansey. They made plays. I thought they controlled the front.
Offensively, Bucky Irving is he's putting up numbers now that you can. There's all these records, rookie records, NFL records, yards, total scrimmage rushing. He's in the conversation now for these records. His performances, where did you see this coming from earlier in the year? And you thought, all right, if we can get this guy going, he has a chance to really be a good one.
Just confidence. We knew he could make the first guy miss. I didn't know he would continually make the first guy miss. And he got more and more confident as the season went on. He can handle more now, so he's more involved in the offense than he was earlier in the year. We think him and Rashad make a good 1-2 punch. They both made breakout runs in the ball game, and he's just getting better and better. And I think the sky's the limit for him.
Do you guys attack the hole faster than maybe previous years? You collectively as the running backs, the holes, when you look from behind, they're there. But the guy, Rashad, as you mentioned, Bucky, they're getting into them pretty quick, and it's minimum 8, 9, 10-yard gains.
We do attack it fast. I think Coach Pete does a great job coaching those guys and understanding where the hole is going to be, and they're hitting the spot, and they're making one cut, and they're getting downhill.
Baker Mayfield gets stomped on there. It wasn't intentional, but anybody who's had a bone stepped on, that is excruciating. When did you realize, okay, I think he can actually come back into this game? You had Kyle come in, start a drive, but for Baker to come in and finish that game, what does that speak to?
Speak to his resilience and his toughness. Obviously, when Kyle came in, I didn't know if Baker was going to come back. We were ready to go with Kyle, trying to win it with Kyle, but when Baker came back in, he had the resilience and resolve to go to take us down the field to get us in the overtime, and then we went down the field and we got the victory with the field goal. He made some great throws. He made some clutch throws. He gathered himself from the 2 turnovers that he had, and he came back and won the game for us.
He comes back in on a 3rd down play. There's an interception right away. At the time, it felt like, oh, this could be a game-turning moment here. How much resilience was required after that from everyone?
Quite a bit. Nobody flinched on the sideline. He threw an interception. Nobody got upset. The defense went out and played. The offense went back out there and ran the ball and made some timely throws, and we got it done.
That is Todd Bowles talking to Dan Lucas after the game in which the Buccaneers had defeated the Carolina Panthers Sunday afternoon in overtime. In fact, as I look at the score, I look at some of the stats. Bryce Young was 26 of 46 for 298 yards. The running game wasn't much. I mean, Hubbard, running back, only had 43 yards rushing. He was top dog. Andy Thielen had 8 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. Bryce Young also went in for a touchdown. Mike Evans, 8 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Bucky Irving also had 25 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown in that game. And man, Bucky Irving, he is just playing some excellent ball. And I mean, he's just doing an outstanding job. Make no mistake about it. 26-23 was the final score in overtime. And I tell you what, man, it was just. I mean, I really thought that when Carolina had that ball first, that the Bucks were good. The Bucks were done. But man, that defense, they held firm. Um, they held firm, and they just played their hearts out, and they just really did an outstanding job. Um, let's see here. Bucks have 445 total yards to Carolina's 367. Bucks and both teams had 7 penalties. Bucks for 54 yards, Carolina 52. Um, Bucks led in time of possession 39-27, which may have been a key factor for the Bucks to win the game. Um, yeah, it's try and find the defensive stats here, and can't seem to find them here. But yeah, as far as offensively, the Bucks just they just played a great game. Thanks to Dan Lucas and WFLA for allowing us to share that interview that we did tonight. Um, while we're still waiting for Lucas Mann to come on and talk about recruiting, who? Um, while we're waiting for Dan Lucas to come on and talk about recruiting, the next to the last, okay, the next to the last playoff spot got released today. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. Here, I'm trying to see if I can get somebody to come on and join me here. But yeah, see here, do this right here. Okay, yeah, the latest college football playoffs has been released for the top 12, and we're going to bring it up for you right now and show you. All right, this is the way that it is right now, as you see on the screen, as you see on the screen. Um, the top 4 right now: Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise State. They have buys. Penn State, Notre Dame is 6. Um, let's see, Georgia 7. Um, Ohio State 8, Tennessee 9th, 10th Indiana, 11th is Alabama, and 12th is Arizona State. Those are the numbers as we have them right now. That just came out a little while ago, and so the Buccaneers. So those are your top 12 as we have it right now. Now, don't look like we're going to have Lucas being able to make it on here tonight. So here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow is going to be early National Signing Day, and expect the Gators to come out and be a player and be a player in all this tomorrow. Okay, you're going to see a lot of names. You're going to hear a lot about Florida throughout the course of the day. You can watch it on 247.com. They'll have coverage all day. You can also watch it on the SEC network and also on ESPN2. Also catch it on CBS Sports Network. They should have recruiting all day throughout the course of the day. Napier will be speaking in the afternoon, which is why he did not have a Monday press conference. And by Thursday or Friday, we should know where the Gators are going to play exactly for the bowl game. Like Loren said, it might be at the Gator Bowl. It's going to be interesting to see how Napier treats this. I mean, do you want to use all 15 practices to practice, or you want to use it for like what we call basketball skull sessions? Meeting rooms, watching film, things like that. I think that's something that this team may be looking at. So that's how this thing may be going down. Now, again, next Thursday we'll be back on. We'll review the National Signing Day. We will also talk about the signing class about the Gators. We'll talk about the Raiders and the Buccaneers. It's Sunday in Raymond James Stadium. It is a 1:00 start in the afternoon. I haven't received any word. Have not received any update as far as injuries go right now. But then again, it's Tuesday, so the first injury report will not come out until Wednesday or Thursday. You know what? Oh, and you go to floorgators.com. They have a website, National Signing Day. Get all your information there on what's happening there as well. I'm going to hang on just a minute here. I'm going to see if I can pull up this screen. No, I was right. I thought that was that just didn't sound right when I was repeating those the teams earlier. I thought the Notre Dame was 5, but no, they are indeed 6 in the country. Penn State has gone up to number 5, and if the projections were today, it's looking like Alabama could be facing at Notre Dame. That could be that right there. The Alabama, Notre Dame, and Tennessee, Ohio State. Those may be the games to watch. Those could be the two of the best games to watch. Make no mistake about it. So you want to be watching for that. Okay, we'll be back next Thursday. I promise. Back on our usual scheduled slot for Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. I don't know who we're going to have yet. I want to thank Loren Meadows for joining me tonight. Sorry we couldn't get Lucas Mann on to talk about the recruiting class for tomorrow. Again, you can go to FloridaGators.com. They have a section there just for National Signing Day. You check out 247.com. On 3.com, we'll also have coverage, and ESPN, SEC Network, they'll have all the recruiting class that you want. Been a blast. Hope you liked it as much as I did. Again, we'll be back next week. Until then, have a great week. And if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Good night, everybody, and we will see you all next Thursday right here on Facebook Live and also on YouTube. Have yourself a great day.